Ravens fans, tonight is the night that we are always the most excited for, the night in which the Ravens wear their all-black uniforms in prime time at the bank. Probably the best uniform combination that we see in the NFL. Unfortunately, they only wear it once a year. I'm rocking my number 8 in all black. I've also got a Derrick Henry one, but I'm figuring, you know what? Tonight is the night for Jackson 5. Why not rep Mr. Lamar Jackson himself? But Joshua, it's been a long weekend of mediocre football games, but probably the best game of the weekend is tonight. How are you feeling looking at this Monday Night Football game?
Oh man, I'm always feeling pretty good, especially when you have, the Motor City comes to Baltimore, and then you just have, another city, that's about hard working. I mean, I would say Detroit, Baltimore, Philly, Pittsburgh, those are some of those cities where, those that fan base, those people, they just live, to see these type of games, man. That's where you get those, these hard-nosed style of playing football. When it comes to the Baltimore Ravens, we known for the defense and the run game. Detroit, they have been, defense and passing game. And I can't ignore the fact that they had arguably one of the best running backs in the NFL, and Barry Sanders, at one point in time in their franchise. So it's always good to see these guys coming to town. It's always good to have good competition. I'm looking forward. They got a strong offensive line. Recently I just saw on Facebook, if Lamar Jackson was in Detroit, how many rings he would have, and if Jared Goff had all weapons. I'm like, man, come on, man. I mean, if you don't want to be a Detroit fan, I guess we got an application over here in Baltimore. I don't know if it's going to get approved though. But hey, man, listen. I love the energy. I love the fire. I love what's going to happen tonight. I love the resurgence. I know we talked about last week. Roquan Smith was missing, and he came alive. I mean, he came alive against a running team. But we hope to see that progression. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name, but yes, let's get to it, Bateman. And shout out to that pass game, man. Shout out to Tez Walker getting 2 TDs last week, man. Adding more TDs in his stats for his NFL career, man. But I'm looking forward to tonight's game. I think this is probably going to be one of the best games this season, and I feel like we're going to come out and show out, which we do always in prime time.
Was muted for a sec, but this is a huge game for the Ravens. It's a huge game for the Lions as well. They're trying to win the NFC North. The Packers have looked really good, but just stumbled against, obviously, the Cleveland Browns, which, watching that game as a Ravens fan, I was like, I've seen this before. I've seen this type of loss to the Cleveland Browns before, so I did feel bad for the Packer fans. But overall, this game is a huge notice of how the Ravens are going to perform against teams that they don't play very often, right? Because we know how they're going to play against the Bills, right? They were missing key pieces, right? Isaiah Likely, obviously Patrick Ricard as well. But you know what? Like, no excuses when you're playing those teams that you don't normally get, that you have to play every year, right? You got to beat the Bills. It doesn't matter who you have. You got to try and beat that team because that's the team you're trying to beat to potentially get to a Super Bowl, right? Bills, Chiefs, the Chargers are a really good team this year. Bengals when they're healthy, the Steelers, that's a playoff atmosphere type game. Those are the games that you have to win because you know that if you're going to get that Super Bowl, you're going to have to beat those types of teams. The Lions, on the other hand, that is an NFC test. That is the Lions could be the team that comes out of the NFC, but you don't get to play every NFC team. You play them every couple of years. We played them last in 2023 when they had a very good team and we dismantled them. And I promise every Ravens fan out there, Dan Campbell this entire week has been remembering that game because that was a good, potent offense that the Ravens came in and they stifled them. Like, they couldn't do anything against the Ravens. And so they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that that doesn't happen again. And for the Ravens, this is an offense that is trying to become the first team in NFL history to put up 40 points to start the season in each of their first 3 games. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but also the thing about this game for the Ravens is how is their defense going to perform against Jared Goff? Because the Ravens don't face this type of offense very often. There's really no speed running backs in the AFC on good teams. Sorry to Devon Achane, but the Miami Dolphins aren't a threat because the rest of the team is kind of garbage. But when you play against the Detroit Lions, it's a very different power, speed, punch, running game that you're not going to face in basically all of the AFC. So that's an initial quick test. It's also something where you're looking at, hey, the Baltimore Ravens are playing against a pocket passer quarterback, which they're not really going to play this year because Joe Burrow was essentially out. So facing like a true pocket passer on a good offense is basically out of the cards. So kind of does help them prepare for potentially if the Bengals were to make the playoffs, maybe the Ravens play them in the playoffs, or eventually if we play a team in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs in any sense that has just a true pocket passer in an explosive offense, how are the Ravens going to do against that? They're missing key pieces on defense. Nnamdi Madubuike, the biggest one, but that's not an excuse. That is an opportunity for Travis Jones, Fub Peebles, David Ojabo is playing because Kyle Van Noy is out. We're going to see Nate Wiggins a little bit more, Cheeto Awuzie, because Jair Alexander is out. So this is an opportunity to see what we have in our other pieces. Who's your guy, Joshua? I think that to step up in the wake of these injuries, you think? Is it lineman? Is it a running back because Keith Mitchell's not playing again, or is it one of these DBs?
Man, I'm gonna go with the interior defensive line. I don't know about you, McConnell. I've been seeing over Twitter that we should, send a first round pick for a big guy. Listen, I love my big sexies, man, but the Ravens can find an interior defensive lineman. The Ravens can find old linemen. The Ravens, hell, they can find a tight end. Those are certain positions. The Ravens know how to find those diamonds in the rough. Now, do we always hit? No, we do miss on some. But I feel like Fubs People is a young guy that can step up, but we also are missing out on a guy that you're going to line up all across the defensive line, and it's Tavius Robinson. Tavius Robinson is very sound. He has technique. He is very strong. He knows how to move, and he has pretty good finesse. He's been progressing over the years. Travis Jones is a sleeper. Yes, he's loud when he gets on the field, but we always tend to kind of forget him. And another guy we kind of forget, I love the fact that we brought up Brent Urban off the practice squad, but that's not the guy I'm speaking of. I've been big on him. For a long time. I'm gonna keep on having his back as Broderick Washington. He was the one that set up that field goal block for Calais Campbell a couple years back when we still had him. So those interior defensive linemen, these are the time and opportunity for those guys to really step up, because right now, if we're going to make that push, we need that front line to get things moving. We need to cause that much chaos in order for our guys on the outside to really come out and show out, because I know David Ojabo is active, so it's going to be beautiful to see him for a full game. But also seeing young Mike Green be able to get out there and work. There was times that he missed these first 2 games, but he's a rookie. I mean, he has the potential to be a Pro Bowl defensive end. Do I think it may happen this year? It really depends on, the recovery of Kyle Van Noy, and it also depends on his production when he's on the field. But I want to see those interior linemen, the Travis Jones, Broderick Washington, Fubs People really step up and, show what they can do in the absence of Madubuike. What about you, McConnell?
I'm with you. I think the defensive line is where I'm looking. I'm looking at the pass rush, because the Ravens, the first 2 weeks of the season, the pass rush was non-existent from 4-man pressures. Yes, the Ravens got a couple of sacks. They had a little bit of interior pressure, but that's coming from Madubuike. Fub Peoples has gotten a little bit of pressure. Mike Green has struggled with contains on the outside, but the benefit is we're playing against Jared Goff. You don't got to worry about contain at all. So Mike Green, one of the things that I think I saw, I think it was Kevin, I can't pronounce his last name. It starts with an O, on Twitter. He put out basically saying, like, one of the big things about Mike Green that made him great as a prospect and why people really liked him was how he just plays with like relentless energy, and he's just always working. But if he felt like the Ravens are trying to put him in situations that isn't really allowing him to just play recklessly, right? They're trying to force him to contain the quarterback, which is an important part of playing the job. But in this game, I think they're going to be able to just, pull the wind up string and let him go and see what happens. Because Jared Goff, I'm putting it right here, if Jared Goff beats us with his legs, so be it. If he puts up 72 rushing yards and the Ravens lose a close game, I will tip my cap. I will donate $500 to charity. Like, I will do whatever because that, I just don't expect that to happen. That's not his type of game. So for the Ravens, let your guys play, the pass rush position. We're going to see how well they do just in true pass rush sets getting to the quarterback because we're not worried about Jared Goff trying to scramble out of the pocket. It's not like when you're playing Joe Burrow, even when, yes, Joe Burrow wants to sit in that pocket, but Joe Burrow is a phenomenal pocket mobility player. He's almost impossible to stack in the pocket. He's very difficult to bring down. Now, at the same time, he doesn't move a lot, so you can bring him down. You can get sacks, but Jared Goff is a lot less mobile than even a Joe Burrow, who the Ravens like to get after. So the difference is offensive line quality. This is a really good offensive line that the Detroit Lions have. So we'll see how they do in a true test of a really good offensive line. But my guy that I'm looking at is going to be Travis Jones, because Travis Jones, Ravens fans know the name Travis Jones. We've been watching him for a couple of years. He's someone that has, played very well in a lot of spots, but has been overshadowed by Matabike. Travis Jones coming out of college was seen as someone that will give you terrific run defense and a little bit of push on the interior of the offensive line, to try and collapse that pocket. And now that we're not playing a mobile quarterback, I'm looking to see how well that pocket collapses from the interior, because Travis Jones is not going to, swim move somebody and like get that interior pressure or anything like that, but he's going to push the pocket back. I want to see how he does with that, and I want to see how Fub Peoples does in the run game, because Fub, I think, is actually a pretty solid pass rusher for what he is at in his career, right? A rookie defensive tackle for pass rushing, but I think he will get a little bit of pressure. The question is, how will he do in the run game? How will his sheds look against a David Montgomery, against a Jahmyr Gibbs, where you're going to have to get off your man, because an arm tackle is not going to work on Monty, and you have to be quick enough to be able to grab Jahmyr Gibbs before he hits that hole because he's so fast. So I definitely think that the interior defensive line is where I'm looking, but I like that you brought up Tavius Robinson, the abominable snowman. For people that don't know, that's his nickname that I made up, but one day it'll catch on. But seeing how he performs as a pass rusher is really, the big thing that I'm looking for with him, because he's been our run defending outside linebacker for, all of this year, but even good chunks of last year. We used him in the playoffs a lot because he can do it. He does it better than Kyle Van Noy. He honestly does it better than Nadafe. But in situations where Mike Green is off the field, I fully expect Tavius Robinson to be out there. And I think the backup for Nadafe is probably going to be David Ojabo. So that's kind of the rotation I'm looking at. I think it's going to be Nadafe subs out for Ojabo, and then Mike Green subs out for Tavius Robinson in run sets. So, it's going to be interesting to see how, Zachary Orr calls this defense, right? Is he going to be more conservative in the pass game? Because Jameson Williams is very explosive. Amon-Ra St. Brown, very good across the middle, short underneath, quick passing game. Jahmyr Gibbs can catch the ball. Monty can catch the ball. So, do you play the pass and really try and restrict the big play opportunities, but that will probably allow good amounts of run plays? Or do you play the run hard and see what happens if, we go after Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery and stifle the run? Will that allow for too many big plays? I assume we're going to play the run hard first, really test our cornerbacks, see how they perform in that situation, and then eventually make adjustments. Drop Shot asked, do you expect us to run a lot of blitzes? I would say no. I just don't feel like blitzing is what Zachary Orr has been trying to call for this Ravens defense. But what do you think, Joshua? Do you think there's going to be a lot of blitzes being involved?
I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be real. When you have a pocket QB, you should be doing it. I mean, Zachary Orr was once a Raven, player. Now he's a coach. So, he knows what it takes to disrupt someone's, rhythm. But I don't feel like, because under the leadership he's in, he may not have that full reign as well to just, call out all out blitzes. I think we will see it, but I don't think we see it like a ton, like 50%. I think we're going to see it maybe between the 5-10% mark. I mean, blitzing is part of the game. Disruption is part of the game. Creating chaos from the defensive side of the ball is a part of the game. And I feel like, with that type of team, they do have, like McConnell said, they do have a lot of firepower, and Jahmyr Gibbs, JMO. Even is Laporta active tonight?
Yeah, he is. Laporta's
Okay.
playing.
And so, he's another factor that you have to keep in. Amon St. Brown, another tactician on the on the opposite side as a wide receiver. So, in order to make sure those weapons are non-existent, you're going to have to disrupt, Jared Goff. Jared Goff can move just a little bit like Flacco, a little lesser than Flacco. And that's my comparison. But when he's clean, when he's upright, he's making the smart reads, he's making the good passes. So do I feel like we need the blitz to win this game? For sure, because that's part of a defense's makeup sometimes. But do I see it happening a lot tonight? I think it's going to be situational. I think it's going to come down to situation.
Yeah, the defense is going to be big, but offense is where the Ravens have been thriving this year. It's the one area that has looked exceptional. And obviously they had the fumble, unfortunately. They didn't look amazing against the Browns for a good part of the game, but they still ended up with 41 points because it's just relentless, right? Yes, you might stop the Ravens once or twice at the beginning of the game, but how can you stop them continuously? Keep getting more and more stops. So Derrick Henry was coming off of maybe his worst game in the last 5 years. For a game that he stayed healthy the entire game, it was probably the worst game I've ever seen him play outside of his first couple of years in the league when him and DeMarco Murray were kind of splitting carries and he wasn't getting a lot of opportunities. But he struggled severely against a very good run defense in the Browns. We saw them, do very well against Josh Jacobs this week as well. But we've got Derrick Henry. Zay Flowers has been torching everybody. I mean, Zay Flowers has looked fantastic on the crossers across the middle of the field, which we said, what was the best play for the Tennessee Titans? It was AJ Brown on crossers because Derrick Henry brings everybody in the box. Now, guess what? We're using a wide receiver on crossers, Zay Flowers. He's fast. You can't cover him in man coverage because he's going to run by you. And he's just finding these soft spots whenever it's zone coverage. Zay Flowers has been looking very, very good. This is a good defense. They have a very talented secondary with the Lions. They also have a good pass rush. Is Zay Flowers the Ravens' most important receiver today? Or are you looking at someone like DeAndre Hopkins, who has obviously made incredible catches, big plays for the Ravens? Or is it Bateman? We haven't seen a lot of this year, but is our route runner technician that is supposed to be the one getting open and finding these spaces? So, is it going to be big play Bate? Is it going to be Nuke? Is it going to be Zay Flowers? Which is the wide receiver you think is the one to keep an eye on for the Ravens today?
Oh man, it is. Boy, I don't know because we've been fussing. We have been campaigning for us to get wide receivers, and I think since we done got together, McConnell, and brought Trust the Bank podcast, this has arguably may be the best wide receiver core that the Ravens done had since we've been together. And we've been rocking out for 6 years, y'all. 6 years. And it's honestly, you can pick your poison right now. D-Hop we've been preaching about, Lamar needs the Anquan Bolden that Joe Flacco had, and now we could possibly see that in the D-Hop. Zay Flowers is so dynamic as an athlete, especially in open space, and the way that him and Lamar is on pace in regards of extension of plays and trying to make yourself available for Lamar is great. But I feel like this might be a Rashad Bateman type of game. The reason I say this is because Mark Andrews, he's in the contract conversation. This could be possibly his last year here in Baltimore, and he has not been looking good. I mean, it clearly shows that he is physically fit, but the game, we all know that this game is 90% mental, 10% physical. And these past 2 weeks, it doesn't look like that he's mentally there. And I feel like, if you need a guy right now to move the chains, to go across the middle, to get up the field with for sure hands, and that can create separation, right now, I feel like it's going to have to be in one of your wide receivers, and I feel like it's going to be in Rashad Bateman. He's been consistently, evolving. You love to see the fact that he's consistently grown as a player. I don't think we had it on our bingo card that he was going to get the contract extension the way he did, but I'm glad that the front office will make it happen. And and I'm looking forward to see what he's going to do, how he's going to continue contributing to this team. So Rashad Bateman is my guy for the night to really have a big game tonight.
Yeah, I like it. I would agree. I think he's going to be the guy that isn't being focused because, you have to pay attention to Zay. DeAndre Hopkins has been kind of the big play receiver for the Ravens. And obviously the run game. Like Bateman, I feel like, is the one getting left behind that has the ability to really take over a game. I just don't think Mark Andrews has that in his game anymore. After that, looking at a guy like maybe a Tez Walker, will he get more opportunities after his great game last week? I think so. I think he will be playing. I think he will get opportunities to block in the run game, but I also think we might take a shot to him down the field. He is a speed threat. That is, he is a jump ball threat. Lamar Jackson, he's 3 for 3 passing to him with 3 touchdowns. So I feel like he's developing at least a little bit of chemistry. But I did pull up their 2023 game just to compare the stats of the games. Lamar was unbelievably good. Lamar Jackson, 21 for 27, 357 yards passing with 3 touchdowns. He also had 9 carries for 36 yards and a touchdown. Just Lamar being Lamar Jackson type game. Gus Edwards was our number 1 running back. He had 64 yards. Justice Hill had 46 on 4 carries. Leading receiver was Gus Edwards. If you remember, he had that 80-yard reception like down the sideline, but he didn't score on it. Zay Flowers had 4 for 75. Andrews had 4 for 63. Odell, this was Odell's best game as a Raven. 5 receptions, 49 yards. And then Bateman had 2 for 36. So, it was kind of a all-around passing attack from the Ravens in that game. This is obviously a different team, different defense, different offense that we're going against. But I just wanted to bring up those statistics. Defensively, Millette had a sack, so corner blitz. Nnamdi Madubuike had a sack. Kyle Van Noy had 2 sacks in this game. I do remember that, like, just being like, oh, wow, somehow Kyle Van Noy is playing really well because this was when we first got him. Adafe had a sack, so maybe he can kind of replicate that. But overall, it was a big game from Kyle Hamilton. He led the team in tackles. But on the side of the ball of the Lions, Jared Goff, 33 for 53. They did not have David Montgomery in this game, so that's kind of a big loss that they had, right? So now they have Gibbs and Monty. Gibbs had 11 carries for 68 yards, but the Ravens they took over immediately, right? It was 14-0 at the end of the first. It was 28-0 at half. They were having to pass the ball, so that kind of made them one-dimensional. Again, 53 passing attempts for Goff, and they only put up 6 points is very out of the ordinary with this incredible Lions offense that we've seen the last couple of years. Their receivers, Amon-Ra, 13 for 102. Jahmyr Gibbs had 9 receptions for 58 yards. So like I said, they're just passing the ball. It was kind of an extension of the run. Laporta, 6 for 52. Laporta's the guy that I'm worried about the most because covering tight ends is not the Ravens' specialty. Yes, they can do it if they want and just put Kyle Hamilton on somebody. The problem is we don't have another safety to play over the top. And that puts, if we go into, one safety over the top, we have Malachi Starks up there. That is a rookie safety against Jameson Williams and a very explosive offense who Malachi Starks, he's not made any, coverage blunders yet, knock on wood, but that's still a difficult situation to put your team in. So I think the Ravens will try and have Teddy Buchanan playing or have corners matching up against Laporta. It's just how will they fare? Because if we have to put Kyle Hamilton on him, we will. It will also help in the run game. But the big play ability of the Lions will be able to be, kind of showcased in this game if the Ravens have to bring Kyle Hamilton down. Because if we want to go 2 safeties, it's either UDFA rookie or we have like Ruben Lowry at safety over the top, or we can have we don't even really have anybody else that can even play safety. So it kind of just has to, like Sanusi Kane.
Sanusi Kane, or
I don't trust Sanusi Kane to be playing over the top against a very difficult to defend offense either. So,
and the rough thing about it is Jalen Armour-Davis got picked up, so he would have only been the next guy up. But maybe TJ Tampa with the height and his speed could possibly do something if they trained him or throw Marlon back there. He's the veteran that feel like he deserves that spot, which in some cases I feel like he has, because he still plays good corner. But those guys eventually do get moved back.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to defend this offense. One person did put in the comments, we got to put Nate Wiggins on Jamison Williams. I assume that's what's going to happen. Nate Wiggins is our speedy corner. JMO is their speedy wide receiver. But we can't just rely on that because, we still don't want these one-on-ones to be happening. But I do think that will be the matchup. Goff does like to take opportunities to JMO down the field. So maybe Nate Wiggins can get one. He got an interception last week. I'd love to see him get one again this week. He's looked very good this year so far. So hopefully that's able to continue. But I also hope that we get to see a big play out of Malachi Starks because he hasn't had any plays. He hasn't had any opportunities to make plays either. So it's kind of like the good, bad of, man, we don't get to see like cool highlights, but also like, hey, they're not picking on him. They're not throwing at him. They're not running towards him. So overall, that's pretty good. But Roquan Smith had an abysmal week 1. Maybe his best game ever is a Raven week 2. He's playing another run-heavy team in week 3. Is this going to be a game where Roquan is abused by the passing game, which can happen to him? Or is it going to be a game that he completely dominates because he just stifles their entire run game? Like Roquan is a huge factor in this game because either he's going to win us the game on defense or he's going to lose us the game because he can't cover Laporta and basically is useless at pass coverage, which, both are like equally as likely, which is scary. Very scary.
Man, listen. I think we have found our guy to put out there in pass coverage. I think we're going to see the guy that's going to be playing on that other side of Roquan Smith, and I feel like it's going to be Teddy Buchanan. I'm still rooting for Jay Hill. He showed a lot of promise. He got those interceptions in the preseason game. He showed that he can go out there and ball. But I feel like they're going to try to establish themselves because, the Motor City, they are another us in a sense. They are another team that believes they run game. They got the two-headed monster. What is it? Sonic and Knuckles over there. I love him. I love him and respect what they got going on. I love the fact that Dan Campbell, yes, he can make bonehead mistakes. Not as many as the brother of Jim, but he has the heart. He knows what it takes to be the coach and the guy for that type of organization. But back to Roquan. Roquan, I feel like he has another type of run stopping game. He needs that type of game to continue to build momentum. I feel like when you get Roquan Smith going, it's the same way with Derrick Henry. When you get Derrick Henry going, the rest of the offense goes. When you get, a Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, those guys out there, flying to the football, creating interceptions, creating sacks, fumbles, strip sacks, whatever the case may be, the rest of the defense will flow and rally around that type of energy. He's trying to be that heart, that mind, that soul of the defense, and he does have that. Can't take that away. But sometimes when he has a bad game, it flows to the rest of the team. So I feel like he comes out here doing what he did last week, getting to the ball, stuffing the runners, and just closing out the gaps, man. So I liked it. I like to see Roquan really get after it tonight.
Yeah, I think Roquan's been a guy that, whenever people start doubting him, he starts to perform a little bit better, right? You don't see like really bad Roquan games, happen really close to each other. So that gives me a lot of hope for how he's going to play today, but also a lot of hope for next week, right? This is a huge game. And not just, because, if the Ravens lose, they're 1-2, but because they have to play the Chiefs next week. If the Ravens split these games and they're sitting at 2-2, you're not like super upset. But if you lose this game, all of a sudden the Chiefs and Ravens are both 1-2 playing each other to be even. That makes it a massive game. Whereas if you win this week and you're playing the Chiefs, you're already 2-1 and you're playing to be able to put 2 games between yourself and the reigning AFC champions, right? And Patrick Mahomes. You want to do that. You want to make sure you get as big a lead as possible when you have to play a team like that. And this game is against a team that you're probably going to come out, and hopefully they don't do this, but knowing how John Harbaugh works, they're going to probably come out really slow and conservative in this game for the Ravens. And that might bite them because this is a very explosive team. This is an opportunistic defense, opportunistic offense as well. They will make big plays happen, both on offense and defense. And the Ravens can't have a game like they did against the Browns where they come out, they're predictable on offense, and their first 2 drives, nothing happens. Because if that's the case, they're probably down 10-0, 14-0, and they're trying to claw their way back into the game. Can the Ravens come back down 14? Absolutely. But do the Ravens want to do that? No. The Ravens need to start fast. When you're playing in these Monday Night Football games, in these big-time games, the Ravens traditionally have started very, very well. And they've run teams out of M&T Bank Stadium, right? The most iconic Ravens victories, right? I've got one right over my shoulder. This is against the 8-0 Patriots back in 2019. Lamar Jackson in the black uniform. The Ravens just dismantled. Joshua was literally at that game. But the Ravens started fast, and they were able to keep their foot on the gas. They ended up winning by like 21 or something like that. They crushed them. The Rams game in 2019, another one, Jackson 5. The Ravens started very fast. Hollywood had 2 touchdown receptions in that game. This was, a very quick routing. That Lions game was another huge win in 2023, but the Ravens, again, they started very, very fast. Whereas when they don't start fast, another one, the Bills last year in the regular season, Derrick Henry, first play of the game, 87 yards or whatever it was, touchdown. The Ravens just continued that momentum. They ran him out of the game. The Ravens have also had games where they go out there against like decent opponents and you're like, yo, what's happening? And they have to rely on like Lamar being great and end up, maybe losing or maybe winning, right? That Colts game, what was it? Monday Night Football, the Colts game where the Ravens were like down 17 or 16 or something like that in the end. Lamar had like 450 passing yards in that game. Like he was like 29 of 32 passing. He was like the most ridiculous stat line I've ever seen. But like that type of game, we don't want to have to do that against, Jared Goff and a really potent offense. We did that against I'm going to say that was like Carson Wentz starting. I don't even remember who the starting quarterback. Maybe it was Gardner Minshew. It was like maybe Matt Ryan. Like I don't remember who the starting quarterback was, but it was not.
It might have been some Minshew magic if we talk about the Colts game.
Like it's not a situation the Ravens want to put themselves in with a team that will run up the score.
Yeah.
Right. We saw them. I mean, they dropped 40 last week, I think, against the Bears. They want to put up 40. They want to we beat them in their building. I think it might have been in Baltimore, but we crushed them the last time we played them 2 years ago. A lot of the same players are there. They're going to want to crush us. The Ravens can't allow the Lions to just, get on top of them, because if they do, it's going to be really hard to come back. Get out early. And if you do that, if you get up early, it's going to be the same thing that happened last time, where now they're limited in their run game and they have to throw the ball. Not saying they can't throw the ball. They're a very good throwing offense, but it helps the Ravens defense in terms of schematically forcing them to be one-dimensional. The Ravens want to make their opponents one-dimensional. The best way to do that is to get a lead. And to get a lead, you have to start early, start fast, start strong, and start confident. Don't start off with 2 dives up the middle out of pistol with Derrick Henry, because we don't have Patrick Ricard, right? If we have Patrick Ricard, you want to set the tone, stuff like that, I'm good with it. But we don't have Pat Ricard. We don't have Isaiah Likely. I'd like to see the Ravens start out in shotgun, and it's okay if you do a run play on the first play, but at least have it be some sort of read for Lamar Jackson. Maybe he gets to keep it, because that initially sets the tone. It tells Lamar Jackson who they're playing in the read option game. It tells them, hey, you don't have the speed to keep up with me. Or if Derrick Henry runs the ball right, hey, this is going to be a hard night to tackle him. If they don't gain any yards, that's fine. Try and start hitting the crossers and stuff like that. But for me, if I'm calling the first play of this game, I'm taking a shot. I'm absolutely taking a shot. Maybe to DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going out there with 3 wide receivers. I'm putting DeAndre Hopkins on one side. I'm putting Bateman in the middle, in the slot, and Zay Flowers on the other side. And I'm getting someone on a cross. I'm getting someone going deep, probably DeAndre Hopkins. And maybe on the other side, if you want to do like a Zay Flowers double move or something like that, maybe a hard play action. If you want, do it. I want to see a big play on the first play of the game here. Now, do I think that will happen? Absolutely not. The Ravens are cowards. But let's do it. Let's do it. Speaking of let's do it, bold predictions. We definitely need to do it. We don't want to forget. Game starts in like 5 minutes, so we'll see what happens there. But Joshua, what is your offensive bold prediction for this game?
Opposite bold prediction. Seeing that Derrick Henry and company are a little ticked off about the fumbles and things of that nature, I feel like he goes for a 250-yard type of game tonight under the lights and scores 3 touchdowns.
Would absolutely love to see that. For me, I wore the number 8 for a reason. I brought up the Jackson 5. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll be a Jackson 5. I think it'll be a Jackson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 touchdowns for Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Massive game. I think this will be a very high scoring game. But 6 touchdowns for Lamar. I think one of them will be rushing. So a passing Jackson 5 and 1 rushing touchdown. I think it will be a huge offensive performance. Again, these are bold predictions. Bold predictions are meant to be bold. We're not trying to have casual predictions. That wouldn't be a very fun page. You guys want casual predictions? Lamar Jackson, 147 passing yards. See, that's boring. But 6 touchdowns, 250 yards for Derrick Henry. That's bold. Joshua, defensively, what's your bold prediction? What do you got tonight?
Hey man, let's stay up front with the big sexies. I got them setting the tone, really putting the NFL on notice. I got them going for 8 sacks. Within those 8 sacks, I see 2 strip sacks and 1 taken back to the crib by Travis Jones. On top of that, yep,
this is a 2000s Ravens type of performance. We got Jamal Lewis 200 yards. We've got the defense getting 8 sacks. Absolutely love it. I'm going with one rookie, Malachi Starks. Gets his first career interception. That's just the tip of the iceberg.
I like that.
Then I've got Bub Peebles, 2 sacks, and Mike Green, a strip sack.
I like that.
Big plays out of our defense, monster plays, and special teams. I'm throwing one out there. You can join me in this. But LeJontay Wester touchdown. I'm feeling it today. Are you with me on that one?
I'm always with you on the LeJontay Wester. I'm a real quick, and I'm gonna let it go. I don't understand why he's not on kick return. And shout out to the special teams guru for holding another guy back.
Shout out to brother Jim for holding him back. Someone said, Darian says Malachi Starks pick 6. Absolutely love it. Tavius Robinson legacy game and Rasheen Ali return touchdown. I don't mind the Rasheen Ali return touchdown.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But everyone, I think that's going to do it. Oh, wait, score prediction. Nailed it last week with the 41-17.
Yeah.
This game,
in the ballpark.
I think this game's going to get ridiculous. Ridiculous. 52-41.
Ooh. Okay.
I think it is a big play after a big play type game. I don't think the Ravens can hold this Lions offense down, but I think there's going to be a lot of fireworks.
I mean, it's Monday Night Football. Detroit, they got all the offensive weapons. They know how to make things happen. But I do see them making mistakes. I'm going 48-21, Ravens way.
I like it. I love it. Both of us got the Ravens winning. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Post-game show, I think we'll do it after the game, or I'll be alive after the game. I assume Joshua, if Joshua is available, will be here as well. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. Subscribe for more. We'll see all of you after the game. Should be a lot of fun.